Hey guys, Chris Dunn here with another video helping you learn skills to thrive in today's economy. So do you hate your job, or do you feel underpaid or just unfulfilled in your career? Well, if so, you're not alone. There are millions of people around the world that are in that situation. And in this video, we're going to talk about how to actually create a business on the side so you can quit your job. So thanks to movies like The Social Network and TV shows like Shark Tank, today, entrepreneurship is cool, and that makes me really happy. As an entrepreneur, I love to see people chasing their dreams and creating really cool products and services that can change the world. Now, a stat that I think is really important for us to talk about is the fact that over the next few years, by the year 2020, at least 40% of jobs in America are going to be entrepreneurial in nature, meaning that 60 million plus people in America are going to be freelancers, contractors, or entrepreneurs, whether they like that or not. You know, automation is having a massive effect on the economy. And I think that's just going to be magnified over the next 3 to 5 years. So if you're in a job where you're like, you know, my job might be at risk of automation, or even if you're not thinking that and you're just like, I want more freedom, or I want to actually control my career, then this video is going to be really helpful for you. So let's talk about some practical steps that you can use to quit your job while you build a business on the side. So step number one is you first need to decide what you want and why you want it. Do you want to start a big business, or do you just want to be self-employed? There's a very big difference between the two, and I think it's really important that you have absolute clarity on where you want to take your business once you quit your job. So an entrepreneur or a business owner is somebody that builds a business that sustains itself even if you're not there. Now, that takes a lot of time, energy, capital, effort to build something that's basically a machine or a business that can operate with or without you. Now, the other option that you have is to be self-employed or a freelancer. Basically, you develop a skill set that allows you to be a one-man or a one-woman show. And I think being a freelancer is great because you can develop skills that allow you to build a business that might be able to operate with or without you later. Now, the next thing that you need to figure out is just as important about what you want to do. It's why you want to do it. So your why is really the foundation or the bedrock of everything. It's that thing that's going to pull you through when times get tough. Because look, guys, entrepreneurship is not easy. It's a challenge. It's probably the biggest challenge that I've ever faced, and it's also the most rewarding thing that I've ever done. But when it comes to finding your why, you have to ask questions like, why are you doing this? Are you doing it to have more time with your kids? Are you doing it because you want to travel the world? Are you doing it because you just want to make more money, right? Whatever that is, you really need to hone in on that and make sure that you're focusing on the real reason behind why you want to do this. When I was in my early 20s and I was working in the mortgage industry, my biggest why at that time was actually something that, looking back, is kind of funny, but it was I didn't want to sit in rush hour traffic anymore. I made the mistake of building this big house way out in the woods, and I had to drive about 45 minutes to an hour to work every day. And there was one day that I was just stuck in rush hour traffic. I think there was an accident on the highway, and I remember just sitting there like just steaming, and I was like banging on my steering wheel, and I said, you know what? Enough is enough. Why am I going to waste 10 to 15 hours a week? And then I did the math and added up how many days and months over the decades that would become. Why am I going to waste such a big chunk of my life sitting in rush hour traffic? Not that I don't get stuck in traffic sometimes now, but I wanted to have the decision or the choice of when I was actually going to go to and from my office. And now it's funny, looking back, I actually work way harder and way longer hours than I did when I was just an employee, but it's the choice, right? So for me, it's about the freedom and not having to be at a office at a particular time just because I have a boss that sets some arbitrary schedule for me. Okay, so after you figure out what you want to do and why you want to do it, step two is figuring out how to make a smart transition. So look, if you have a job right now, be grateful for that job. Having a job is actually a really great thing. Let's not discount that. Let's just, for a minute, if you have a job, just take a second to be grateful for that job. Thinking back to the 1920s during the Great Depression, there were so many families and hardworking people that couldn't even get a living wage, right? So if you have a job and you're able to pay your bills, be grateful for that, first of all, and be grateful that we live in this time right now where you have the opportunity and the tools and the resources to be able to phase out of that job and say, you know what? I'm grateful for what I have, but I want something more. I know there's something more for me. Also, having a job is great because it allows you the time to focus on developing a skill set, right? My friend James Altucher recently sat down and interviewed the CEO of freelancer.com, and he asked him, what are some skills that could allow somebody to make $2,000 in a weekend? And he came up with this big list of different things, most of them online, where you could work from anywhere, where you could actually generate an income. Think about that, $2,000 in a weekend. That's, times 4 or more weekends in a month. That's about $100,000 a year, guys, on the side. We are living in literally the best time in history to become self-employed. And another story, my good friend Ryan Roots, which a lot of you have seen my previous videos, last year in 2016, in the beginning of the year, he had $200 that he took to a garage sale and started doing reselling online. Fast forward, by the end of the year, he had made nearly $300,000 working this business part-time doing reselling, and now he's actually scaled that up and doing much bigger wholesale deals. But there's just so much opportunity and so many ways that if you have the weekends or the nights, or even if maybe you're working in the service industry and you work at night, but you have the days free, there are so many ways to build a business on the side with a flexible schedule. So when you're preparing to quit your job, the first thing that you need to think about practically is, how do I quit this and not go broke, right? And I think a really good goal for a lot of people would be to replace your current income before you quit your job. A lot of people get excited and they have an idea. They're like, I have the next $1 million idea and I just want to quit everything and jump into this head first. Sometimes that works out for people, but if you're risk adverse, or if you want to do it the smart way, I think a much better way to attempt to do it is to try to build something on the side, or say you're making $5,000 a month, you replace that working, hustling. Obviously, it's not sustainable forever. You can't work 80 hours a week for the rest of your life unless you're just, crazy like Gary Vaynerchuk or something. But, if you have a side income that you build up to replace your current income, that's going to allow you just to be much more free with your decisions. You're not going to make fear-based decisions. Another thing that you might want to do is try to have 6 to 12 months of living expenses saved up in reserves that you don't touch, and you only use that if and when you quit your job and phase into your new business. The other thing that I would suggest for people is not to make any moves until you test and validate your idea. So in your free time, build something up, test your idea, validate it, make sure that you have something that either solves a big problem or creates a skill that is in high demand, right? Those are really the only two ways to make money as an entrepreneur or a freelancer, right? You either solve a big problem, and you can solve it with software, you can solve it with a service or a physical product, or you have a skill set that is in high demand. So another piece of advice I'd give you is, don't use company resources on your side business. You definitely don't want to get fired, but I would encourage you to get creative and see if there's possibly a way that your side business can work in conjunction with your full-time job right now. So I'll give you an example. When I was in high school, I was working at a mortgage company after school in the afternoons. And one thing that I did is I said, okay, well, I like the income that I'm making at the mortgage company, but I want to have my own thing. I want to be an entrepreneur. So I started a car detailing company, and I talked to the owner of the mortgage company, which which was a mentor to me. And I said, look, man, I really want to make more money. I'm going to work on the weekends, and I have an idea, and I really like cars. I want to start a mobile car detailing business. And I said, would it be cool if I, on my breaks and after work, if I actually clean the cars of all the employees here? And he said, sure, no problem. And in fact, here's my Cadillac, go clean that. And so that's how I actually started my car detailing business, was at the job that I had. And that's what gave me the extra capital to hire some friends, to buy more products and tools to use to clean what eventually became big fleets of cars. So another really good thing about having a job is that you don't have to rush into the first entrepreneurial opportunity that you see. That gives you the ability to be patient and wait for the right opportunity. Because I want you to think about this statistic. Over 90% of businesses actually fail within the first 5 years. Think about that. You don't want to just rush into an idea because you want to be an entrepreneur to say you're an entrepreneur. You want to be an entrepreneur to succeed, right? So take your time and think about solving problems. And if you're really aggressive and you want to maybe be a freelancer in the meantime, develop skills and have a side income before you build a big business, one thing about being a freelancer is you can take your time to learn skills, build a portfolio of work or a reputation, and then when you're ready to replace that income, by then you'll have enough work history to be able to replace your current job. For example, there's a programmer that I hired about a year ago through Upwork.com, which is a freelancing website. And I think I was one of, if not his first clients. And, over time, he got better and better and better. And now he recently requested a raise. I gave him over a 40% raise on his hourly rate because he now has experience. He now has traction. He now has worked with several people. And I think that's just such a great way for young folks to really live up to their true potential, instead of working for a company where they say like, look, we look at you as an employee and we're going to pay you $15 an hour or $20 an hour and that's it. If you're a freelancer or, an entrepreneur, you get to decide your own rates. You can take the bull by the horns, develop skills on the side, and earn an unlimited income potential. It just takes hustle, so if you're willing to put in the work, the opportunity is there. So again, I actually created a blog post with 27 business ideas or skills that you can develop today to start moving towards being able to quit your job. So I'll link that up in the description. And like always, if you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments below. Like it up, share this video with anybody that you think this would be helpful for, and I will see you in the next video. Take care.